All right, well, we are recording. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I put together a fancy schmancy PowerPoint presentation for you guys tonight. Kind of helps put it all in one spot. So here we go. So I'm a new leader. Now what? So I know it seems daunting, but it's not that bad. It's actually a lot of fun. So kind of want to start out with what is Cub Scouting? So scouting is family fun with learning as a side benefit. And it truly is a family adventure now, because now that we have boys and girls in scouting, we have the entire family that can come do the adventures and enjoy the time together. Scouting develops skills, simple things such as, you know, tying a knot, tying a shoelace, those types of things, all the way up to using a compass and different outdoor skills. There's a lot of things that they learn that they start in Cub Scouts and they learn in Cub Scouts, and they'll build on that as they keep in their scouting career. Scouting is a safe place to try new things. I impress this on everybody that I talk to, that even though we as leaders are leading this, we might not always be in a place that we know everything. Nobody knows everything. So we always want scouting to be a safe place where the scouts can come, try new skills, and learn things in a fun environment. And most of all, scouting is an adventure, because it really truly is an adventure once you get going. So the purpose of Cub Scouting, these are the tenets that come down from National, and these are all exactly what Cub Scouting does. It's character development, it's spiritual growth, good citizenship. I mean, you'll see our scouts out in the community doing different things, doing trash pickup on Earth Day. You'll see them building different things and helping out. Sportsmanship and fitness is a big thing that we impress. It's right in our scout oath that you'll learn as you get involved a little bit more in scouting. Family understanding. That's a big one in today's environment, because a lot of times we see both parents working outside the home. We see a lot of single family, we see blended families. Well, there's all these different experiences that the kids might have, and one scout might have this kind of an experience and another scout has a different kind of an experience. It helps them understand that everybody has a role in this, and it's a lot of different moving parts, and it helps them understand their family is their family, and it doesn't have to be a predefined that it's, you know, this or that or something else. Respectful relationships is a big thing, because we want the kids to understand that even though we're leaders, we don't know everything. And we want them to respect not just us, but each other, their community, their environment. We want them to understand that it's all intertwined. Personal achievement, for me, this is one of the high points. A lot of the things that the kids do, they may have never done before. So for them, it's a huge achievement to be able to move in and do something, achieve it, discover something new. It gives them personal satisfaction. Friendly service, we do things with a smile. I don't know that I've ever seen a scout not having fun or not have a smile. We all have bad days. We might not be as cheerful as normal, but for the most part, you're going to see scouts really enjoying their time, because we enjoy the program. The adults are here because we love it and we believe in the program. And the scouts are doing it because they enjoy it as well. And most importantly, it's fun and it's an adventure. So the first thing I always tell new scouts, I'm sorry if my cat jumps in front of the screen here, I'm trying to like keep the wild ones at bay, but get to know your team. So your team isn't just your professionals. Your team consists of a lot of different people. So your Cub Master, that's the person who leads the pack, who leads the overall group. There's also an assistant Cub Master. Get to know them. Your den leaders. Your den leaders are the individuals who lead your grade level groups. So your first graders, your second graders, your third graders, they're a resource. Your parents are a huge resource. Even though they might not be in an official position, they're a great resource to have and to ask for help. And your scouts. I always count my scouts as a resource. I ask them for feedback. What do you want to do? What do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? My older scouts, I look at them as a resource for teaching my younger scouts. They can all help. So they're all your team. It's not just you, it's everybody combined is making the program happen. The other person you can touch base with is your council representative. So there are paid executives and administrative people at the office. They're a great resource for information. If you've touched base with your Cub Masters and those that you know, or you're not sure who those people are, you can always reach out to the council representative and they can get you in touch with the people that you're looking for. And then I always encourage people to learn about your charter organization. So your charter organization is the group or the organization that sponsors your PAC. So sometimes you're sponsored by a church, or it could be a Lions group, could be any organization that has decided to take you on. They have different things. They're all different. They may offer you space for your meetings. They may offer you space for storage. They may have projects that you can help with to help with service hours. It gets you exposure, gets you involved with those organizations. So then the next step is to gather your resources. So you found who your resources are as far as your people go. So now you want to gather what you need to actually put your program together. So leader books are a great resource. There are books for both the PAC leaders, which are your Cub Masters, and they lead the overall group. And there are leader books for your den leaders. And again, those are your grade level leaders. You can purchase copies on your own at the council store. You can purchase them online. Sometimes you can even find them online if you're just looking for a quick reference, or you have a specific question about an adventure. You can look online to see if you can find the information. And you always want to check with your current PAC to see what's already available. So a lot of PACs will have these resources in their libraries. You can check those out, you can use those, and then when you're done, if you're a den leader and you're moving to the next grade level, you can return that and then check out the next one. So you don't necessarily have to have a financial commitment to that. Those resources may very well be available for you already. Other Scouters are a great resource for ideas. I always encourage people to get together and just toss around ideas. What are you guys doing that makes your PAC unique? What do you guys have coming up? Seasoned Scouters have been right where you are today. When my son was in first grade, he ran home with that flyer like the wind was chasing him and said, Mom, I want to do this and I want to be an Eagle Scout. And I said, great, let's do this. I walked into that first meeting. I didn't know what a den was. I didn't know what a PAC was. I didn't know who these people were. I had no idea what I was getting into. But 9 years later, I am so glad that we did, because I have made some great connections and have a lot of great friends from scouting, as does my son. I count it as a bonus for me because I've learned so much through the program as well. And we like to talk, so don't ever feel like you can't ask a seasoned scouter a question. Online tools, there's a ton of online tools. The World Wide Web is like my favorite thing. I do the Google on a daily basis for most things. There is our council website, which has information, and you can also go to other council websites to learn things as well. And one of the newer tools to scouting is Scoutbook. So your Scoutbook login information is going to give you a ton of information. Once you get into that tool, it's going to help you with advancement. It's going to help you keep track of things, and it's going to help you with your training. So basics about what is a den and what is a PAC. So the dens are made up of the youth that are the same age, and I've talked about them a couple of times, and those groups are typically led by a parent volunteer. So your dens will meet about 2 to 3 times a month and work through different adventures for their grade level that are in their handbook. So I listed them out there. You can see that we call them ranks. So our kindergartners are at our lion rank. They're in our lion den. Our first graders are in what we call our tiger den. And then we move through the ranks to wolf, bear, weeblos. And then the last one for Cub Scouts is arrow of light. Once they earn that arrow of light, if they choose to continue their scouting, which I hope every scout does, they'll move into Boy Scouts. So then we have our dens, which are individual grade levels, and then our PAC is made up of all of those dens or all of those grade level groups within your unit. The PAC typically will meet about once a month. They share what they've been doing, they share what they've been learning, they get together, they make those connections with the other scouts. Now the Cub Master is typically the ones that leads that PAC meeting. There's always a little bit of a meeting part. You might have some paperwork that you need to go over. You might need to coordinate things for an upcoming outing. But then there's always awards that you can give out at the Cub or at the PAC meeting. That gives those boys and girls recognition right there at that time of things that they've achieved throughout the month. So if they've achieved something in their den meetings, we want to give them that recognition at the PAC meeting in front of everyone. That helps create that camaraderie and gives them that sense of pride and accomplishment. So I always tried to, as a Cub Master, include a fun activity as well. We know that kids don't like to sit still, especially after a long day at school. So I try to do something that gets them up, gets them moving. Maybe it's a game of tag outside. Maybe it's keeping balloons off the floor. It's feather races. It's whatever your imagination can come up with that you can do in the space that you have. So it keeps them interested and makes them want to come back so that they continue the program. They don't want to just come and sit and listen to me talk. As much as I love to hear myself talk, they don't want to hear me talk. So now, okay, help, you've given me all this information. I'm still not really sure what to do. So there is specific training for every leader position online. So I talked about Scoutbook, and within Scoutbook, when you log in, there is a link to a program called MyScoutingcom. Within MyScouting, that is the training hub for the Scouts BSA. So everyone across the nation can go to Scouts BSA, log in, and get the same training. They offer everything from starting in Cub Scouts through executive leadership training. The screenshot that I grabbed here on the screen is what you would see. And you can see that you can click on Cub Scouting, Scouts BSA, Venturing, Sea Scouts. These are all different programs within the scouting community that you can log in and take training on. So when you go into Cub Scouting, if you're a den leader, you can take a den leader training specific to that. If you're a Cub Master, you can get some training specific to Cub Master. So it's going to walk you through the process, through the program, and it's going to give you some details on performing that particular position. If you have curiosity and you want to look at Scouts BSA because maybe you have a child who's in 5th grade going into Boy Scouts next year, or Scouts BSA, pardon my slip on that one. You can take a look ahead and you can take any of the trainings that are out here depending on your interests. So the first place that I always tell everyone to start is with youth protection training. You'll hear it and see it referred to as YPT. It's required training for every adult leader in scouting, regardless of your position, regardless of what you do or how active you are or aren't. If you are registered with Scouts, you have to take youth protection training. I, in my pack, in my den, also encourage all of my parents to take this as well. It is not required for parents, but I tell them that if they take that youth protection training, they're going to know what to expect from any scout leader, whether they're in our pack, whether they're in our den, whether they are at scout camp or across the nation. They know that everyone that is registered with the BSA should be following these same guidelines. There should never be any shock to how that's being administered. The other thing you can do here is take your position specific training. So like I said, if you're a Cub Master, you can take the Cub Master. You can get guidance on that program, and then you'll be better prepared for your Scouts, because all Scouts deserve a trained leader. Reach out to your council contact again. You know, they can seem intimidating because they, you know, I don't know these people and I don't want to sound dumb. You know what? There's no dumb question. Scouting is a safe place for everybody. And again, you can ask your team. Talk to your Cub Master, your assistant Cub Master. Just because they're a Cub Master doesn't necessarily mean they've been in that position longer. Sometimes you have a parent who maybe has been in the Cub Master position or been in the den leader position and stepped away for some reason. They're still a great resource. They're just not in that position at this particular time. And that last bullet is huge, because scouting is a safe place for the adults to learn along with the youth. So again, just because you're an adult, don't think you need to know it all. Understand that we are here to support you. Okay, that's all great. That's a lot of training, but how do I really get this going? I always tell everybody, just call a meeting. It's the best way to get going. You just got to dive right in. Now, you as a new individual might not know a lot of people at that meeting, but in my experience, the kids or the youth typically know each other. In our area here, our packs are designed around our schools. I called a pack meeting last week, didn't know who would know who. I walked in and almost all of the kids knew each other. My 3rd graders knew each other. My 4th graders all knew each other. My 5th graders all knew each other. I didn't necessarily know them. It was the first time I was meeting them. But that works for me, because then I have them introduce each other and I can start learning their names and they can know who I am. Use the leader book as a guide to know what needs to get covered for each adventure. So using that leader book, you get that first meeting under your belt to meet everybody. Now they know who you are, you know who they are. Now you can take a look at that leader book and say, okay, I have 12 scouts in this den that I'm leading. This is the best way to tackle it because these are our adventures that we're going to do. Or maybe I only have 2 scouts in my den, so maybe I need to approach it a little bit differently. Use that leader book as a guide to get your best, the most bang for your buck out of each meeting. And one of the biggest things that I hear back from families on why they left scouting is they didn't know what was going on. So I always encourage all of my new leaders to create an event calendar. If you are a den leader, let them know at least at the beginning of the month which weeks you're going to be meeting for den meetings. If you're a Cub master, create a calendar for the year. Last week, all of my families got handed a calendar for the pack from this month all the way through next August. So we have our den meetings scheduled. We have our pack meetings scheduled. We have our other activities like outings scheduled. And I try to stick to that as closely as I can. Now, we all know that life gets in the way and things have to shuffle a little bit from time to time. But for the most part, my families really can't say we didn't know what was going on because I've handed that out at the beginning of the year. I will share that with them periodically throughout the months as we go. If something changes, I try to give them at least 4 weeks notice prior to changing anything. So create that calendar and get that out in the hands of your families. Keep it fun. So there are talking points to each adventure. And we all know that youth can struggle with sitting still, especially after a long day at school. So I always try to break up the discussion with activities. So each adventure has some book work, as I like to call it, that's included, but then there's always an adventure and activity to do. So I try to break the discussion part up with the activities. A lot of times I'll take them on a hike or a walk or an outing, and we'll do the conversation piece while we're out doing our activity. That kind of rolls it all up into one. They're paying more attention because they're not stuck sitting at a table, and it makes it a little bit more interesting for them. So learning is serious business, but it can still be fun. I always look for creative ways to complete the adventure. The example I always like to use is one time we were working on an adventure, we were talking about the solar system, and they couldn't comprehend how far away things were. So I showed up with a 12-pack of toilet paper, and I said, all right, each square is X amount of space, X amount of, measurement in space. So here's the sun. Now figure out how many squares of toilet paper is each planet away. So we went out in the hallway and they had toilet paper all the way down the hallway. But you know what? I can run into those scouts and they still talk about the toilet paper solar system. So it's just something simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Sometimes the sillier, the better. Get your parents and your families involved. So ask your parents what they do for work and ask them what they do for their hobbies. A lot of times, if you throw something out there to a group of people and say, hey, we're going to do this, I need some help, who wants to help? You're not going to get a lot of volunteers. Not always, but most of the time it's going to be kind of quiet. What I do is I have a family sheet that I have my parents fill out. If you need copies, we can get you some. So reach out to either myself or the council office and we can help you out with that. But on there, it asks them what they do for work, what they do for hobbies. Are there things they would like to help with in the pack? And I use that to my advantage. If I see somebody on there that say likes to go ice fishing in the winter, I'll talk to them and say, hey, we'd really like to do a pack activity, ice fishing. Where's the best spot for us to meet? Can you bring the equipment? I'll set up the snacks. I'll set up the other stuff, but can you bring the equipment and walk them through it? They're more than happy to help because it's a specific thing and it's a defined time period. It's not ongoing. So I always try to do that. And the one thing that I've learned is that involved parents create involved kids. In my house, my son is a freshman in high school and we never have the conversation of if we're going to do scouting. It's just when are we going to do scouting? So I've been active for 9 years. He's been active for 9 years and he's getting kind of close to Eagle. Kind of, sort of. We're working on it. So what fun things do other packs do? So some packs have their own traditions and events. It might be very unique to them that they've been doing since the dawn of time, since their pack was established. However, there's a lot of things that you can do as a pack just to create that camaraderie and have fun. Not every single item that you do has to be centered around programming. You can do things just to get them together to have fun. My pack always does a Pinewood Derby. A lot of packs do that. It's huge within the scouting. It gives an opportunity to create something, make something, and then race it. Some packs do a space derby. A lot of packs do some camping. They do service projects. We also do outings in the fall. We go to an apple orchard. We just get together in the evening, go have some fun, and that's all we do. Around Christmas time, maybe this year we'll be able to get back to it, going into either nursing homes or veterans homes and do caroling. Any other local place, you can always get together just to do something fun with the boys and girls. So on this page, I've included some resources. I'm assuming that this we can send this out if you want the links to it. But Scout Book, when I talked about that, that's that first link. You'll need to get a login and a password to that. The council homepage is to our Chippewa Valley Council. And then the Scouts VSA home is to the overall national home. So those are just some very high level resources that you could use if you needed more information. And that is what I have. Are there any questions?
I was curious to know what a space derby is.
A space derby.
Is
that
that
is
a rocket launch?
It's not really a rocket launch. It
Okay.
is similar to the Pinewood Derby. It's a real lightweight piece of wood. It's balsa wood. And they carve that and they can put fins on it and everything and decorate it and do all that. And then there's two posts at the end and there's a wire that goes from one post to the other and you can run like two of them at a time. And then there's some kind of a mechanism like a propeller or a balloon. You have to create something to make your rocket go. But because it's real lightweight, it'll zoom down that line.
Cool.
So we did that once. We borrowed the equipment from another pack and the boys loved it.
Sounds fun.
Yep. Yeah. We've done the space derby. We've done the Pinewood Derby. We've done boat races and rain gutters. You take rain gutters and just fill them with water and then they have to take a straw, make their boat and blow it down.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all kinds of different things. Any other questions? John, you're still on mute.
I said I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I like the way that you described taking the lesson part and the activity part, and combining them. I guess when I was running a den at the time, I always did the lesson, then we did the activity. I wished I would have thought of that at that time. That would have worked out a lot better.
Yeah. I actually had one of my scouts told me that. Can we talk about this while we're doing something? Sure. Let's go for a walk and we'll go talk about it outside in the woods. Okay. So again, they have some great ideas. They know what they want to do. We can't always implement everything they want to do, but if you can listen to them, usually in the fall and in the spring when we're starting and we're ending, I always get them together and say, what did you like? What didn't you like? What do you want more of? You know, and I make a list and see what I can incorporate into the next year's programming. Any other questions for me?
Just out of curiosity, what leader roles do we have online? Myself, I'm the Timber Rivers District Chair and a Scoutmaster. So it's been a while since I've been in Cub Scouts, but I'm just curious what roles we have here. So.
I'm a den leader, a wolf den leader with Pack 133. Hi, Ryan.
I am I guess I'm a den leader for the Lions, and I'm also the popcorn colonel.
Well, that's excellent. One thing I will tell you that Jen mentioned is using your other den leaders for resources. A good chance is if you use the one that just finished your rank the year before, they have really good ideas and they'll tell you what worked and didn't work. So thank you for joining us. That's awesome.
Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I'd like to thank Jen Lang for her presentation. You did a very nice job. And I'd like to thank everybody else for being here. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Right now, our council contact isn't with us. We're trying to find a new one. So Ryan and I and Jen and Dave Matson at the bottom there. He's also a good resource, especially for Scout Book. He's our Scout Book guru. He's our district, council advancement coordinator. So any questions with advancement, he's the guy to talk to on all levels. So again, reach out to us. We can probably send out a quick contact email. Ryan, do you have anything set up for just basic district contacts for resources?
I don't have anything specific, but there is timberriverscouting@gmail.com. That
Right.
actually goes to me and I'll share it. You'll probably get some emails from me over the next few weeks here as we kind of roll through some things. So keep your eyes open for that. And if you need my contact information, which you're welcome to have, my personal cell phone is 715-450-0552. So don't be afraid to reach out. If I don't know the answer, I guarantee I know somebody that does. And that's part of scouting.
Yep. And my cell phone number is 715-382-6085. So, okay. Well, if there's no more questions, that concludes.
All right. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Buddy,
Bye.
Bye.
bye.